Welcome back for the last time of the semifinals to the DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite. We are looking at the North American West portion of the competition, and out of the hundreds of thousands of players that have entered and the 1,500 players that we're seeing here in the semifinals, only 100 are going to be making it to the grand finals in just 10 minutes left of lobbies being open. It really seems like our players are starting to pan out who we're going to be seeing move forward. Joining me, of course, it's Sundown and Fallout. And gentlemen, with it being really the last few minutes here, maybe there might be a lobby going on and they might finish it right now and they'll be able to jump into the game, of course, for the last minute that they have. We talked a little bit earlier about what Macon needed to do right to be in the top 100. And Fallout, just like you said, he needed to do what he did before, and he did, getting another victory royale. But there's a ton of players now sitting at that 100 spot. What are they doing to make it into the grand finals?
So now let's take that one, brother.
So I think the biggest thing you have to focus on in these last games is making it into the top 50 first. You can't get eliminated off your drop. You can't get caught out in a mid-game fight. You can't burn a bunch of utility that you're going to need in a 5th, 6th, 7th moving zone. Because as we've seen, that's when placement points start. If you're relying on eliminations at the end, it's going to be a tough situation to get there. However, if you're able to just kind of make yourself in those rotations and get a tarp and get some shots over, you should be in a position where you're able to capitalize and get the points you need.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. We had your back. We had enough time to fill for sure. But I can completely agree with that. Last game, yes, we talked earlier about many different ways to play. You could play for a limbs drop, play another game. This is it. So stay true to what we talked about the entire time. Play for placement. If you make it to top 50, boom, you have a good opportunity to continue racking up points. If you make it to top 10, chances are you're going to pick up an limb or two. You want to continue to really ooze out as many points as you can in this last game. Definitely agree with that sentiment. We have a couple players like Krizix. Krizix is a player who won the Cash Cup yesterday. We brought him on for an interview. He qualified by getting top 80 or so in heat number 2. I'm excited to see what he can do on this fringe. We also have players that have not made it through. I think Symmetrical, Arkham, Safaruni, aka formerly Go Saf. He hasn't made it through in the top 100 yet either. So some key players that really have to go huge in this last game if they want a chance to make it into the top 100.
Yeah, name that you just mentioned, Krizix there, currently standing at 104th place. And obviously these leaderboards are constantly changing, chat. There are 1,500 players currently competing for this, so it's going to be updated pretty consistently. We also have Andrew, who is also known as User716, who's sitting at 106th place right here. But let's actually pull up the top 20 leaderboards to see what our top players are doing and how they're performing right now. And sitting up on top here, it is Vanish Kaz, which to me is the most impressive, along with Frap High. They only have 6 games played right now, compared to Cool Penguin and Ladies Man, who have 9 to 8 games played. So clearly Kaz here definitely earning his spot in first place. But taking a look at some of the other names, we have Ladies Man in 3rd, 40R Storm in 4th, Daddy Temple in 5th, and Frap High making 6th and 7th. And then, of course, a bunch of other names that we definitely see in all these tournaments taking the top 20 spots there. Assault, Acorn, Tavern, Bucky, Sundown. Is there a name that you expected to be in the top 20 that you're not seeing?
Arkham right away. I would say Arkham, Epic Whale would just be 1-2. The fact that neither of them are there and Turtle Tavern has been so consistent, I think speaks volumes to how good Turtle really has been playing recently. Arkham is the one who's really under fire, so much pressure on him to perform given just how well he played in last month's DreamHack, just blowing everyone out of the water. Now to potentially not qualifying, I think he's sitting at around 172nd. Right now, so going to need a brilliant performance in his last game if he's going to want even a chance to contend.
Yeah.
One quick thing I want to say, Kelly, in terms of what I'm seeing right now is Temple was a player I identified as a dark horse in the pre-show and coming into the tournament, and he's been playing so consistent, so well, was always in the top 5 yesterday in his heat, and now currently sitting within the top 10 is great to see as well. Epic Whale is currently a top 40, top 45, I believe, so he's currently performing and in a good position. But I've been really impressed with the likes of Temple, Macon, a few of these other players that we didn't really talk a whole lot about, kind of could have been considered dark horses coming into this tournament and that have been performing pretty well.
Yeah, and I actually just want to put that into a juxtaposition of what Sundown you were just saying with Arkham. Arkham's gone first place in the FNCS Chapter 2 Season 2, got first place in the DreamHack Open July and then got third place in the qualifiers for the most recent FNCS. So to see him underperforming, it's really surprising. But part of me is just wondering if maybe the cards weren't in it for him and he didn't put all of his effort into it. We do talk a lot about mentality right now, and with it only being 4 minutes left until lobbies close, what kind of mentality, Sundown, do these players need to have to clinch the top 100 spots?
I think you need to have patience. You need to stick to your game plan. And more importantly, you need to be disciplined. Every single one of these tiny little interactions and decisions you make impact not only you, but the decisions of the players around you. And if you're playing for the format, you need to make sure you're making safe and smart choices early on. You're minimizing the risk that you're putting yourself at, and you're guaranteeing yourself at least a chance to gain points. Because if you don't do at least that, you might as well not play the last game.
All right, looks like we do have our drawing board available. Chat, we know that you guys want to get back into the action as soon as possible, but we want to make sure that we get over everything and make sure that the lobby is ready to go before we jump into it here. So Fallout Sundown, I'm going to let you take this segment away.
Thank you so much. And so first thing, I know we talked a lot about Caddy Corner as well, but we've seen a ton going down around the authority area as well. Players coming in here and the grapple gun being a really good answer to what ends up happening. But one of the things to end up noticing, particularly towards when we've talked about the spread of the maps, is where are players landing and where do we see the highest concentration of players? Obviously, lots are coming down towards Caddy Corner around here. Lots are coming down towards Misty Meadows. And then we're also seeing a sizable number of players head up towards this northwest side of the map. What does that mean in terms of the late game circle in the game that we're going to see? Any zones that end up pulling towards kind of this southeast direction are going to have a ton of players who have already set up camp in this area. It makes it really difficult for anybody who lands kind of up in this northwest section to effectively rotate through the map, because the area in between there is just going to get cannibalized of all the resources, and anything that's already been in here and pushing up kind of into this mountain zone can end up being so hard. It's something we saw in the late game where if you're forced to burn all of the utility, even to just make it over to the course of the map, it can be incredibly difficult to get an opportunity to make those late game plays.
So I just gotta say, the last time you drew a koala bear, now it looks like a weather forecast that we see on screen right now. But great points for sure that are made. One thing we've been seeing so far in season 3 of chapter 2 is really the north side of the map entirely has been underutilized and way less people landing on the north side of the map. The reason for that, you do have in Fortilla, you have mythic items in Authority, and of course in Caddy Corner. The better weapons are on the south side of the map, which is why you see a lot of aggression there. However, my favorite finish, what I'm hoping for, is that we see a Frenzy Farm finish. It reminds me of old school kind of chapter 1 Fortnite, a lot of flat ground, and really it comes down to who can tunnel, who can hit their shots the most. You don't have to worry about traversing mountains. So I'm hoping for a Frenzy Farm finish here.
Yeah,
I think that both give an opportunity for different games, and if it pulls towards Frenzy, it honestly ends up being, I don't want to say a little more fair, but a little more equal opportunity for the rest of the map in terms of rotating there, just because of the amount of resources and ways to get to Frenzy.
Yeah.
We are just a few short moments away before we jump into the final game of the semifinals, chat, just to kind of lay down the base and understand where exactly we are. All these players competed yesterday in the open qualifiers. We had 2 heats. The top 750 players were able to move on today. So it's 1,500 players competing in these lobbies. They have 10 games in 3 hours to try and collect as many points as possible. And the top 100 here are going to be moving on to the grand finals, which is going to start in about an hour, chat. So don't you go anywhere. Once these games are done, we're going to have a little bit of a break in between those games, but then it's going to be the grand finals where they're going to be duking it out for their share of the $250,000 prize pool. I think first place is walking away with $4,000. Fallout, if you just got $4,000 for playing Fortnite over the weekend, what would you do with it?
Not bad for a weekend of Fortnite, that's for sure. Listen, I would be a very smart man, a wise man. I'd put it in the bank or invest it in the stock market and let that cash grow. That's what I'd do. I'm a mature person.
Oh, wow. Sundown. Hopefully you give me a more interesting answer.
Clearly go buy a flamethrower. I don't know what else. Like, that is the only logical answer. Right? You need to buy something that enables you to go have some more fun time. No, I think the responsible answer goes there. I'm a big proponent of paying back to the people who end up you love and care back to you. So maybe get my mom a nice gift. Probably be where I go.
I'd spend it all on V-Bucks. You guys are crazy. I don't know how many V-Bucks that would give me.
I give you a lot of V-Bucks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thousands of V-Bucks.
It's all about the in-game skins, man. And we are just, again, a moment before we jump into game chats. And I want to know,
we had 3 very different things there. We had save it, put it in stock. We had a flamethrower, and we had V-Bucks here. I like this dichotomy we got between the two here.
Covering all the bases, of course. Chat, thank you for hanging out with us and joining us for the semifinals. But it's enough of this. It's time to get into the game. Sundown Fallout, thank you guys for casting it. And I'm excited to see this final game before we jump into the grand finals. So take it away.
Thank you, Kelly. You've been great all day hosting and hanging and holding it down for us as we are transitioning from game to game. But guess what? This is our very last game. It all comes down to this. We've talked about a few of the players that are on the fringe that need to go big. We'll keep a very close eye on it. But these players are looking to punch their ticket to make it into the top 100 as an opportunity to play for that $4,000 first place prize, an opportunity to buy a flamethrower if you're Sundown.
2 heats yesterday, the semi-final today, a grand final after this. They've put in all of the hours from tens of thousands of players trying to compete the August edition for the NA West DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite. The last opportunity for these players to make a claim that they belong in the top 100 starts right now. We have Justice in the top right-hand corner, Tricks in the bottom right going towards Steamy. They're part of the 4 or 5 players heading there. Look on the left-hand side, you see a whole horde of players heading down to that southeastern corner. We talked about a decent number up towards Steamy, which is where we see Tricks is right now. And the rest of the map is beginning to spread out as we hop on board with Tricks currently at 319 points and right off of the rip, a pair of minis as well as the rare tactical shotgun. So if he wants to get a little aggressive, has the crash pads too, you could potentially try and jump on somebody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Curix is actually nearby. A perfect landing, by the way, from Trix. And looks like we have a little bit of a stacked spot here at Steamy. 3 people drop here. Curix in a pretty rough spot. Decides, hey, I'm going to try and mess with this shot on Trix. I'm going to try and go for a shot. Trix is trying to punish him, and he's going to do exactly that. Well played from Trix. Continues to play with confidence. And I love when Kelly asked you, what do you need to do? How do you need to play in this? I love your answers, patience. And I think one word that I have to use is, yes, you want to play patient, you want to play smart, but you also want to play with confidence. When it makes sense to push fights, still push those fights. Don't be risky. And Trix is going to do exactly that. One thing I just saw that I wanted to talk about a little bit ago is we have Quinn, a.k.a. Rich Homie Quinn, a.k.a. streamer, pro player extraordinaire, for extra in this lobby as well. He's currently within the top 50 or top 60, maybe even top 80. So he needs to go big in this lobby, make it in top 10. We got quite a few players within the top 100 fighting for their spot to make it to this finals. I think it's going to be a great game here, Sundown.
Oh, and Macon finds some huge shots right away onto NT Penguin. Going to really enjoy that if he's able to clean this up with the catty corner domination. Kit's mythic shockwave launcher and Kit's charged shotgun doing him good there. Macon cleaning it up. And he was a player who during the NA West portion of the World Cup qualifiers was always just so close. He had so many dominated performances. He's always right in the top 5, top 3, but couldn't ever quite get over the hump. So it's good to see him now really kind of pushing himself forward and really staking his claim out as one of the stronger players in NA West.
Yeah, that's great to see as Macon in a lobby with Kaz, who we know Vanished Kaz was one of our top players, top 3, top 2 when we watched the leaderboard. So we're going to have the Battle of the Titans here, or the Clash of the Titans, if you will, that may just be fighting each other. And Cool Penguin. We know Cool Penguin was in top 2 as well. So this is perhaps a little bit of foreshadowing, a little bit of a preview of our grand finals that'll be coming up next with our top 100 players. We're making right now 2 eliminations to his name and Caddy's loot. So currently sitting in a great spot.
In a great spot. And again, don't forget, as Fallout just said, the grand finals, the top 100 players from West will be playing. After this, we'll do a short break. Then it'll be 6 games of set lobbies with them, with Bala, Shio, and then, of course, our fantastic host, Kelly Link, holding it down. And just quick shout out to Kelly as well, who has been working her butt off behind the scenes, keeping us up to date with information, following the games along, and then also doing every single one of the heats and the final games. Those are some long hours, and being able to talk Fortnite and keep everything running during that point in time, that is a heck of an effort. So hats off to her for keeping us going, as now Caden Bain trying to get some pressure here onto Jackson.
Yeah, and here we go. Here comes the 1 versus 1. Jackson getting the first shot off on Caden. Is Caden now with some Marauders nearby? I think I saw. Needs to be a little bit careful as AI can impact this fight. Caden, though, going to get the upper hand, going to get the pick, and now going to clean up some AI and get some extra loot. And yeah, to add on to that Kelly note, on top of all that she's doing now and all the long hours, also the prep that she's been putting in is unbelievable. You should see her notes that I had a chance to peep them earlier and how much info she's gotten on all these players. So again, big shout to Kelly, big shout to our entire talent team, production team, obviously in Sweden, making this happen overnight, which is insane. And of course, every single one of y'all in the community in the chat wouldn't be possible. This broadcast wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for each and every single one of you as well. The vibes have been great in chat, by the way. I respect it.
Ooh, and that little replay in the left-hand corner, 40R Storm with a great elimination utilizing Kid Shockwave in his final game. Again, don't forget, because it is the top 1,500 players, there are multiple last games that are going on, so players trying to get those clutch moments in. This is the one we are tuning into. So you can see Guy Goose, a player who had a great final game there, but is right towards that line of the top 100, and he's facing off against Rich Homie Quinn, one of the players you just talked about there, who is using that high rate of fire, either epic or legendary pistol, to really put the pressure on the Guy Goose. 2 shots trading out there, and currently at 113 effective HP. Quinn closing the gap, but a nice low tag from Guy Goose is going to even up the score a little bit, as they're both right around that low mark. Guy Goose gets a really good shot in replace, not exposing himself, and another one. Notice how every single time he's building upwards, he's also firing off a shot in Quinn's direction. He's tagged him 3 out of 3 times so far, and that's what the tack shotgun does best. And extras, Rich Homie Quinn goes down. Guy Goose is going to take him out there, end his run, and Quinn is now going to have to hold on and hope that that's enough.
Yeah, and of course, Guy Goose realizes the significance of who he just took out. Guy Goose also within the top 100 threshold, fighting up against Rich Homie Quinn, and that'll be tragic if you're a fan of Quinn to go out early in the very last game. Opportunity to kind of control your own fate and getting taken out early is very unfortunate. And I love the advice you gave. You know, what do you have to do in these late games? Make it to top 50 is crucial. That goes to show if you take an early 50-50, an early fight, which by the way, I think Quinn actually engaged in that fight, it could cost you. And in this case, it might cost a qualification for Quinn. We'll see.
He should be fine. Theoretically, he should, being the key word. But with that being said, we've seen, particularly in the last games of DreamHack, the point total just always creeps up a couple more than you expected. And right now, Flimsy against Too Salted, trying to get the shots, trying to get the wall replaced, not necessarily able to find it right away.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had 294 points, about 40 over the threshold right now. So yeah, I think he'll be okay. I thought he was in the top 80, which would have been a little bit more scary. But now Flimsy does get the pick. Nice job by Flimsy on the flank. 2 eliminations right now with 257 points for Flimsy. So 256 kind of going into it was the threshold to qualify. The number's going to go up and up as things move on, as we are now watching 50 cal center. Meanwhile, we got a victory royale at the bottom left of our screen. Kaz, who's been performing incredibly well in a 1 versus 1 for the bread, and makes it look easy as making a loaf of bread. Nice shot right there by Kaz to get the victory royale.
How often do you bake bread, man? Oh, okay. Well, that's why it's easy. Then I was just about to say. I know everyone kind of went through a quarantine bread baking phase. I'm pretty sure the only bread I make well is banana bread. Everything else ends up looking a lot like 50 cal Sender's opponent and just deflated and needing to go back into the lobby or back into the oven. There is a brilliant job from that, as his crash pad will also get deflated. And a good elimination from 50 cal Sender, trying to keep himself in that conversation. Again, we talked about it, kind of the format and how it goes through. If you need a quick reminder, once you get to the top 50, each additional placement is a point, with some extra bonus points for the top 3 for making it there. Otherwise, every elimination is just 5 points, and a nice crash pad execution coming out from 50 cal Sender, aka PD underscore, tries to trade it back out. A big tack shot or a big charge shot will be all he gets, though, and it's not going to be quite enough. Sender picks up his 3rd elimination of the match.
I thought we were gonna have a little sneaky man situation right there with PD, but no, Sender knew exactly where PD was and was able to get the crash pad play. Beautiful play from Sender. 3 elims for him, 179. Knows that he has to play aggressive, knows that he needs some type of miracle to be able to qualify here. I don't even think it's gonna be mathematically possible unless he goes absolutely insane, as the current threshold is 257. Slowfo is currently the one that's holding it, but we do have players like Tyler's who are close. Krizix, Epic Whale has been doing very, very well, notably so. We'll keep an eye on the scoreboard. Keep you updated every step of the way here, as that threshold's going to go up and up from 257.
Yeah, and you can see Sender trying to knock his opponent down as we hop on board with Kono, who dodges a couple of hunting rifle shots there real quick. Give him a roll, call him the one, as he's able to get a little bit of distance between him. And that's something we talked about with the unknown army rotation. That's a prime example of it. Use the mountain in the far side, put the mountain between you and your opponent so you don't have to deal with kind of that potential one shot, one elimination threat. As Kono now 263 points, so just north of where that threshold is saying, but with all the points available on the table in this game, he's going to want to make sure he's able to secure some of them.
That's exactly right. Making his way over towards Lazy Lake. It looks like there's a few people nearby. Will he tease the fight? Likely not. To Sundown's great advice and counsel earlier, make it top 50, survive, get to that placement point, live to fight another day. Unless you need to play for eliminations, or you have basically a free pick as someone's just lollygagging or frolicking through a parking lot in front of you, as Kono's going to pick up one.
Yeah, getting caught out there in the open a little bit. And even with that nerfed headshot multiplier, if you're caught and unable to react, that's what's going to happen. And now Kono just needs to make a decision on what resources he wants to use and what he wants to end up then burning through. I'm a huge proponent of, if you're not going to carry chug splashes with you, don't ever leave them on the ground. Why would you give somebody else, another team, another solo, any opportunity to use those resources? Pick them up, chuck them against something, and get rid of them. Like, there's no need for you to use them.
Meanwhile, we got to replay the bottom left of our screen right here of Frappai, who's currently within the top 100 threshold. Look at that. Knocked out by the shockwave launcher and then bounces his way right back in. Beautiful play right there, caught in replay by our production team. Shout out to them. Shout out to Jennifer.
Yeah, brilliant shot right there, both from the observer's perspective and coming out from Frappai, a player who has also been very consistent on NA West. Now you have Bucky against pure Vexies. Bucky with all of the pressure right now, both of them on the same effective HP. He's trying to get the ramp and is able to get the ramp inside on Vex. He's going to turn it into a straight 1v1, but some chokes and flubs coming out from Bucky. Vexies commits right away to the lower risk SMG. He says, hey, I got tons of bullets. I can just spray them towards you. And unfortunately, the inability to reset the wall before Vexies was able to push through will end Bucky's run. We'll still see him tomorrow with a 330, or later this afternoon, excuse me, or this evening, depending on where you are. But Vexies now has an opportunity to potentially keep himself in the game, but he needs to be careful.
Look at Assault.
Assault is right there.
Yeah. Sneaky is Assault, who, by the way, has been performing very well all day long. You like to see it from Assault, as he's going to get the elimination. Stay sneaky. Here's the fight. Says, hey, I can probably third party this, but Bucky gets taken out, and then Assault gets the peekaboo shot and the elimination. First elimination for Assault in this one. And that was actually pretty brutal because Versailles, I think, needed a pop-off game, needed like a 60-point game to qualify. Assault shuts that down.
Yeah, and that's one of the circumstances. You get a key elimination. It's on a really good player. You feel good about yourself. You're just getting reset in your inventory, and then another absurd player is going to run at you. But if you're looking to play in those grand finals, that's all it's going to be. It's the best of the best who are going through it right now. Currently, 267 is the qualification line. So keep that number in your mind as we're flipping around and viewing these players' perspective. Cool Penguin, so formerly known as Icy. You can see here right now Tricks on the other side using the porta potty as cover, but not going to be able to find it quite yet. Cool Penguin, 342 points. Somebody who was not able to qualify from Heat 1 yesterday, had to play the entirety of Heat 2, but a good performance there. And right now it's just kind of avoiding this engagement, waiting patiently to see if they do pull zone. They did. There is no need to take this fight. What I would anticipate him doing is just building up and maintaining the high ground here, since he has pretty much everything he needs to play the end game.
Yeah, and by the way, you mentioned kind of qualifying and Heat 1 versus Heat 2. Our champion of the DreamHack European Open was the player who got the very last place in Heat number 2 to qualify. Was Teak. Ended up winning the entire thing and taking home the larger prize pool in a first place finish. So goes to show anything is possible. On board of Paper, player we haven't watched a whole lot of today, 239 points. So need about 40 points in this game to qualify, which means, hey, if you make it to late games, you get first place, you might be there. You also need some eliminations, and you might have an opportunity to get an elimination right now as he's hunting.
And some players might think, why is he just following this guy? Why isn't he shooting him and trying to drop? Well, one, as we've seen about 6 other times already on the cast, if you stand still and shoot someone to get that first shot accuracy, odds are good somebody else is coming through with an assault rifle or hunting rifle. And two, you don't necessarily gain a lot if you're not in the zone by starting a fight. So what does Paper do? Just waits, keeps himself just out of vision. Daniela has no idea he's there. And then once Paper feels confident, he's able to go up and take the fight, pushes it advantage, closes it out, gets the elimination and all the spoils that come with it. Really veteran play from a player who needs it right now, sitting at 244 points.
Yeah, wise decisions for Paper. Second elimination is going to help him in his overall campaign as well to make it to the top 100. So he's actually in a position to make it happen. Meanwhile, Assault built himself a little bit of a tunnel, as we see right now. Interesting builds from Assault, who, by the way, look at the mats he has. That's why. And he's not done yet. Assault with some interesting builds coming through. Is this creative mode? What are we doing here? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, this is exactly what we had talked about earlier as well when we talked about Cloaksy and Tfue. Zayt and Saf are the prime examples from NA back in the World Cup. The players in teams and duos who would really effectively, once they got eliminations, tarp out the correct area. This is what we mean when we talk about min-maxing, doing everything right, making sure you have all this stuff. Notice how he's dropping all of his mats when he's safe in his tunnel, going back, advancing them forward, so he's able to continue that out and get even further central to zone. So if you want to see like what the absolute best of the best is doing during this time, this is what it looks like. It's not leaving that loot there. It's figuring out exactly how far into zone you can move, how many more materials do you need, how many are extra. It's doing these little things that really separate that like top 0.1% and the top 0.01%. That's the players who are winning these events and making the grand finals versus the ones who are just scraping into the semifinals. That's the difference.
You love it. Assault recognizing where the next storm is, the fact that he'll be in circle. Now the question is, will he stay in circle? That'll, of course, make him look extra big brained, as we'll find out in just 4 seconds here. As we did just get confirmation, Arkham of 100 Thieves, our reigning champion, did not qualify. So a crazy turn of events as he did not make it in Assault. All that effort, not for a whole lot, but it was still the right decision, wise decision from Assault. Now he's going to have to rotate through like the rest of them. 2 crash pads only for the rotation. 4 floppers will help him in the late game. I like his overall loadout. Not bad. You know, obviously a couple more crash pads would help.
Yeah, 50 cal sender, picking up Diamond. One thing just to kind of want to talk about here, with Arkham going down, like, yes, it's a disappointment. Yes, he's one of the best players in West, but don't ever dare think for a second that he isn't one of the best players in West, or he isn't completely capable of doing this. In solos, particularly for Fortnite, it's so hard to be that level of top consistent that eventually you're going to drop an event. Eventually, you're not going to qualify for something. Like Mitro not even making it past the first round of the FNCS last week and barely squeaking in to the final round and getting a qual off of 1 game. It can happen to the best of the best. I think if anything, it's more of a testament to just how utterly ridiculous the consistent run he's been on has been. And it's an opportunity to celebrate just kind of how great it was to watch and experience that and see if he can keep that level going in the FNCS and if it was just a one-off.
That's exactly right. Consistency in a battle royale is the most difficult thing, and the fact that these players like Epic Whale and Arkham play so consistently is insane. But even the greatest are going to have opportunities or days where maybe things don't go their way necessarily. He was playing very aggressive early on, though. We did see that in his first game, opting to drop authority, a slightly different approach. I think he had a lot of confidence coming into it. But in the end, Arkham does not make it this time. We will see a lot more of him in FNCS, of course, moving forward as one of the best players to do it.
Now we're on board here with Paper, one of the players. We talked about the line as we were coming into this game. It was 267, and Paper, unfortunately, is going to eat bullets from absolutely everywhere. There's a player on the other side of this wall as well, and he knows that player is there. You can see him looking for a cheeky charge shot right away. He's getting chosen, trying to change levels, and he's not going to find it. Paper down, out, outside of the top 50, no placement points, just the 2 eliminations. 244 is not going to be enough, and he got tossed into the shredder and thrown out like a bad set of taxes.
Unfortunate for Paper. Man, you've been on point with these analogies all day, by the way. Very well done. It's unfortunate for Paper. He gets taken out. Was looking forward to seeing him potentially make a run in the late game here. Someone's trying to make a run, as we just saw with Sender, with 7 eliminations, by the way. That's undoubtedly the most we've seen in this lobby. He is just full sending, staying true to his name, as now we're on board with Homer. The great Greek story. We'll see what Homer can do here. No eliminations to his name. 256 points, though, so he's at a point where he just wants to survive. Make it to late game. A strong finish here, a top placement will secure Homer a spot in the grand finals. And, you know, Homer now repping the Night Skin as well. He has Trix right to his left. Trix is another player that we saw early on pop off with a game win, and Trix since then has stayed within kind of the top 20, top 30. I've been really, really impressed by Trix's gameplay.
Right now, we do have the top 50 going through. Nugs picking up Dementia will be the first player to follow the top 50. So all those points will begin going through. Homer, however, like the other counterpart, unlike the Greek one, sitting on a donut in terms of eliminations, wants to find the pick as this player rotates around the side, but needs to be careful as now we flip on over to Macon. We've seen 2 victory royales out of him so far today, currently sitting on 4 elimination, has Kit's loot, and we got an update again, 276. So apologize to those with dyslexia as now those point totals have swapped over. 276 now as Macon is at 352, picking up his 5th elimination. Not going to worry about that and just going to work with the Epic AR. However, player in his box spraying him down, and the spray will take him out. He's done for the day. Homer now up to 263, but still sitting on that donut.
That's exactly right. Vinny was the one that took out Macon and got himself quite the spoils as a result. Macon was playing like he had nothing to lose. Well, because he didn't really have a lot to lose. He's already qualified. He's in a secure spot. So that's why he was having some fun playing a little more aggressive and for picks. And now, not sure if Vinny's sitting at in terms of points, but Vinny does have an opportunity to win this game with Kit's loot in his inventory. We're still on board with Homer. 263 points to Homer's name. And yeah, I like this decision. Yes, he does have a donut, like the character from the cartoon. However, it is a wise decision. There's no reason to pick fights. No reason to try and force a 50-50 type of fight or a box fight where you can potentially lose it and lose your opportunity to get a top 10 placement. Homer's playing wise. He's playing slow. The tough part will be this rotation. 3 crash pads to make it happen. He's got a long ways to go.
3 crash pads and a launch pad. You see Caden directly above him, N.A. Benji, Snaz, Sumo Osamori, Who Fishy as well, who's inside that top 100. Radar, Strafes, Smarty, Snacky, Outcast, Tricks. Tons of players still left in this lobby. 6th circle is revealed. Early launch pad coming out from Homer. So he's going to try and get ahead of this zone and as much a high ground as possible. Storm Surge is in play, and currently Homer is below it. That's where that donut ends up coming into play. But 12 players have to go down for that to fall. And he finds one with Felix. That's the one bullet wonder going through there, picking up the elimination. Nice 6 points, gets him closer and closer to the threshold. One more will put him right at it in terms of the placement, but we're on board here with Kono. 1 elimination, 278 points, and all of these players are right by the threshold, fighting for their tournament lives.
Yeah, Kono and Homer, 2 of them. We got to keep a close eye on these 2. Meanwhile, Trix does have high ground. Trix is in a good spot to qualify, and Kono, 1 elimination to his name. Make it a 2nd. He's going to connect for 1. That's going to be 5 more points. Make it actually 6, including the placement. Crash pad also to his name, as Kono will be able to hit some easy rotations. Let some other people fight. Try and get a pick if he can right now, but he just needs to be careful that he doesn't get someone that jumps into his box. He should be big chilling in these fights. Keep playing for picks, but keep playing with awareness. I like the fact that his head's in a swivel.
Keeping the head on a swivel, making sure his builds are disciplined, not over tarping right now. You can see him placing just the ramp, will complete box at the end. Storm Surge in play for just 3 eliminations, but not going to be too much of a factor as the players will end up dropping anyway. Right now on board with Casual. Keep in mind those point totals. They're the left of the HP. 276 was the last number we saw, but expect it to climb up right at the end. It could push. We'll need 280 as of now to guarantee going through, and Casual is just on the other side of it, but still 30 players left in the lobby as Circle 7 is about to close.
Yeah, Casual still has another 30 points or so that he could pick up with a big finish, but he's going to get tagged up. It's looking so scary right now for Casual. He's going to get flanked, but he's going to actually 180 and pick up the elimination. Huge pickup by Casual, and he's not done yet.
Not done yet. 276, 1 elimination, but only 11 builds right on that line. Every single player he outlasts could be the difference. And he outlasts 1 there, and he gets an elimination as well. 283 now as Raider goes down. Huge pick for Casual on the outside. N.A. Benji directly across from him. Charge Shotgun being held. Gets the edit. Finds the 2nd pick. That was Homer going down there. Not going to find it. That's another from Casual from 0 to 4 real quick. He was almost on the outside looking in, but this run is going to be enough to push him up. You have TRNL Vinny up on the high ground. Who Fishy just behind him on the middle tarp, eating floppers as he moves through. Assault also on the tarp with him. Snacky, Tricks, Cap still left, but Casual continuing his run and pushing past 300 points now.
Unbelievable performance for Casual. We said he was right below the threshold. He controlled his own fate. 4 eliminations, 20 points picked up in a matter of seconds. If you blinked, you missed it. And he's still not done yet. Doing his best Jay Rose's impression as he's making do with what he has. Not a whole lot of shield, but an opportunity to get another flank. And these eliminations just keep falling into his lap. He's positioning himself so well here on these tarps.
Yes, and he has no mats though, so he's just working through other people's builds, and he finds one elimination. Will get some builds from that. Can he find the second? He misses the shots. Unfortunately, the tack let him down, but the top 8 finish will be enough. 50 cal sender using that shockwave launcher to go all the way up, but a little bit of a mixed execution there, showing that it can be a double-edged sword and not the infinity blade kind that just cuts through everyone. That one cut him back, as Snacky now working top down as absolute mayhem happens on the low ground. 3 players eliminated right away by Relax. Brilliantly done from him there, but Snacky will close that one out. Gets picked up. Relax versus Kono for the final fight here of the semifinal round of the DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite. Kono takes him down. 6 eliminations in the victory royale for 353 points.
Beautiful plays from Casual, followed by Kono, who, by the way, had 260 points just moments ago, controlled his destiny, controlled his fate, got a victory royale, and just like that, Kono will qualify through. Who else will make it? Only 100 to our grand final. We'll find out right after this break.